Hi, Becky.
Hey, how are you? I'm
Uh,
Becky Stafford.
yeah, you're on the air with me. I'm just going to talk to you
Oh,
for a few minutes, and
okay.
I just want to welcome you to Well Preservation with Fred Hackney, and you know who I am. Uh,
Yep.
can you tell the audience a little bit about how long you and your husband Alan have been clients of our firm?
Uh, been since 2009.
2009. What are there any other family members that are clients as well?
Yes, in fact, my two sisters, both of my sisters, and their husbands were clients of yours for 2 years before that. So it's been since 2006.
And then you have someone that your mother's a client too, isn't she?
And my mom's been a client since she joined with us in 2009.
Yeah, the last couple of years. Folks, this is Becky Stafford. Her and her husband Alan, they're clients of mine, like we said earlier. But the last couple of years has been a pretty difficult time for your family. Can you tell our audience kind of what happened to your sisters?
Well, my younger sister died in a car accident, and it was blunt force trauma. She was hit from the side by a truck, and that was a freak accident. But Fred Hackney was there at the funeral. He was also there. He was one of the people called from the accident site because my brother-in-law, Paul, had his number in his phone, and that's how much my brother-in-law and my sister thought of Fred. My older sister,
And the phone was found at the wreck by a good Samaritan
right,
that went through the history of the phone and then happened to call me on a Saturday night, and then I contacted you guys.
and that's exactly right. And then you were there for the funeral, and you were there afterwards to help make sure that everyone understood what happens when Darlene dies to the money that you have preserved with you. And so Fred was there to help them with everything after the accident and after Darlene's death.
And then
The same th-
What happened here last month?
And then just about 2 weeks ago, well, 3 weeks ago, my sister was put in the hospital, and she had an infection, and her body couldn't fight it, and even though they were giving her all kinds of antibiotics. So within 24 hours, she was dead. And Fred was there for the family, including the children who met with Fred, and Fred helped them understand how he had preserved the money that Jonelle and Steve had saved for them. And he was there for not only my sister Jonelle and her husband Steve, but he was also there for their children.
And then I had to come to your house and saw your mother recently, didn't we?
Yes, because when Jonelle and Darlene died, the will says that instead of the money going to their husbands, Paul and Steve, it would go to their children, my sister's children. And so Fred came over to the house, and he met with my mom, my husband, and I, and then he helped us understand what forms we had to fill out so that the grandchildren could get the money without having to pay taxes on it. So he's helped us in a lot of ways besides preserving our wealth. He's helped us know how to get around tax loops so that when someone dies, we're not paying a good sum to income tax.
We're not making the IRS your main beneficiary.
That's it.
Tell me a little bit about what you did for a living, and Alan, and tell them how I've helped you guys a little bit.
Well, I was a teacher and a principal and worked for the State Department for 34 years in Louisiana. And I had my money with what's called a financial planner. And, every test that I ever took said, I am not high risk. Do not put any of my money in high risk. Well, when the tech stocks fell, so did my money. And when I was putting, $50 and $100 a month away out of a teacher's salary, that was a lot of money. So I lost a half of the wealth that I had. And what the financial planner would say is, oh, you don't want to pull it out now when it's at the bottom, or else they would say, buy low sell high, but my money never recovered. And we tried it.
What did your husband do for a living?
And my husband worked for Exxon Mobil, and he retired with almost $2 million in assets. And we immediately in 2008, he retired in May 2008, we immediately took that lump sum, put it with a financial planner here in Jacksonville, and then the 2008 crash hit, and we lost well, it wasn't quite a third, but it was close to a little less than a third of his money, just right off the bat. And they, too, were saying, oh, well, you can't pull out now. But my two sisters had their money with Fred at that time, and so their money made money while we were losing money. So that's why we met with Fred, went to a luncheon, met with Fred, and it's a whole different feeling now. We're on vacation in Gulf Shores right now, and I'm not worried about watching the stock market news, and neither is my husband.
Yeah,
he knows
that the
money...
Have you lost any money with me since you've been with me?
We have not lost one dime. In fact, we've made money every year since we've been with you. And this is, and my mom has made money every year.
How old is your mother?
My mom is 90 years old. And they had her, the financial planner that she was with before Fred, had her with some at-risk
mutual funds,
which caused her to lose some of her wealth until Fred came along and put her with an annuity, which now she's making money every year.
And she doesn't have to worry about the stock market anymore.
And that's the one thing she tells everybody. If it hadn't been for Becky and Alan, she doesn't remember Fred's name, but she said if it hadn't been for Becky and Alan helping me make the right decision, I wouldn't have any money left now. And she's probably right.
Yeah, where's your mother living?
In Jacksonville, Florida. It is real close to Mayport, and since she is a Navy wife, it's real close. It's very, very convenient for her to use the commissary. But Fleet Landing's beautiful.
And having that money that's preserves helping her pay for that care.
Well, not only that, she has Alzheimer's. And if we didn't have the money that Fred has preserved for her, right now we would be looking at having to pull her out of Fleet Landing and have her at home because we couldn't afford the cost that they charge for anyone who has Alzheimer's. So this has helped us give her a quality of life and a little bit of independence without having to live with us.
Yeah. What when you call the offices, like you said, I just want you to tell the audience here a little bit. You know, when you and Alan had met with me, and I asked that if something ever happened to Alan, that I'd be there for your family. Do you believe that'd be true?
Oh, Fred, you know, that's such a piece. Your clients are not your clients. Your clients are very important to you. They're family. When someone decides to invest with you, they become your family, and you care about them. And when something happens to any one of them, you're going to be there. And I've seen it happen with my sister Darlene and my sister Jonelle. I've seen you be there at the funeral and to help them know what place they are financially. You take your time, you come to their home, and you sit down and you say, what are your questions? How can I help you? And then you make a difference in their life.
And I never pressured you in any way to do it, did I?
No. And, you know, that was the really neat thing because my husband is a stock market guru, and he did not want to leave the stock market, but he lost so much money, he realized that there had to be some other way, some other place that he could protect his money that he retired with. We have friends that work with Exxon that went with different financial planners, and they're back at work now.
Well, they had one of them that went with Alice Stafford. Right? And lost money, yeah.
That's right. And so the Stanford debacle, they have to go back to work. They've lost their retirement. Mm-hmm. And we're in a position, we're now at Gulf Shores in a motorhome having a week-long vacation with our friends. And we can do this only because we know our wealth is protected by the annuity and what you did with our money.
So you think peace of mind is better than any big return Wall Street can give you?
Well, I don't think Wall Street's given anybody a big return. I think it goes up and down, and I think it flatlines. And if you look over the different years, it's not. It might have a day that it goes up, but then you'll have 3 days that it goes down. So
It's just not worth it to you.
no, I was on antacids and trying to, almost having a nervous breakdown when I watched in 2008 in September what happened, and then in October what happened, and then and it didn't recover. And when you have a retirement nest and you've worked your whole life to be able to retire, and all of a sudden you're looking at something that says you don't have that now, and it all happens within a year. I mean, it's gone. So, yes, the peace of mind is the most wonderful thing that can happen to anyone. It just, and it's there because we've invested with you.
Well, I really appreciate you calling in, Becky, and tell Alan I said hi, and enjoy your vacation and your money's safe.
Thank you so much.
Okay, Becky. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.